Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and thank you for joining us. Take your time. We still have a couple of free seats. Thanks for joining us here once more at Krones. And you are just in time because this is actually our last round and this is going to be super exciting. Welcome to everyone who also decided to join us online. Thank you for tuning in on Digitalization Day here at Krones. So what we decided to do in this last round of discussion is really bring things full circle and kind of connect the dots on certain topics we've just grazed today. And you may actually notice that one of our speakers brought this blast from the past. I mean, we need to explain, anybody under 40, this is what we used to use as a smartphone, okay? We made phone calls with this, just so you, it's hard for you to grasp, I know you're too young. We'll get to that in a minute. The point being, we feel you need to know where you're coming from to see where you're heading towards, and our experts are going to do the explaining in just a moment's time. So let me do the introductions, and then we can hop right into content. First of all, we have Sebastian, head of Krones Digital Support, a young at heart technician with a keen sense for digital trends, not today perhaps, passion for technology, and a direct line to customer support. He believes strongly that real solutions are born when technical expertise and customer needs align. Let's hear it for Sebastian. Welcome. Moving along, we have Raphael, head of digital product management, born and raised with and by the internet. While everybody else was outside learning to ride the bike, he was inside gaming, but on a professional level. Quite impressive. Professional gamer at a very young age. This is energy he now channels into being or building smarter, faster, and more intuitive digital solutions and services for you, for all of the customers. Let's hear it for Raphael. Moving along, we have Matthias, head of customer support at Krones application manufacturer Syskron, a passionate advocate for customer centricity with over 2 decades of experience in service and support. And since 2001, his guiding principle, as well as his mindset, is customers rule. Let's hear it for him. Welcome. Last but not least, we have Peter, head of product methods data, and he has been with Krones for, get this, 29 years. Very impressive. Must be very happy where he is. He describes himself as a tech and company dinosaur. His words, not mine. To best introduce him and what drives him, I would like to quote something he once said. "I would love to have a real tree house for mobile working, but I'm struggling to get a fiber optic data line into the forest." This says everything. So let's have a round of applause for Peter. Welcome. All right. Without any further ado, let's get right into topic. Sebastian, how has it, first of all, thank you for bringing this. And with this in mind, let me ask the question, how has support evolved over these past recent years? And what were certain events that actually accelerated the change that you've been witnessing in your department?
We already heard and seen a lot about the Krones world today. Now we move on to the third part, the Krones world customer service. The question of how our support has evolved over the past years is not only relevant, it's also a reflection of how much our working environment has changed. In the past, our support was heavily based on personal contact. On-site support was a given. We were physically present at customers' location, inspecting machines, solving problems together, and building trust through a face-to-face interaction. Remote support existed, but it was more of a complementary tool, not a part of our daily work. And then came COVID, and with it, travel restrictions. Suddenly, what had always been normal for us was no longer possible. We had to rethink quickly, flexibly, pragmatically, and this is where remote support became a true enabler. What initially started as a workaround turned into a real value driver, not just for us, but especially for our customers. We were able to respond faster, work more efficiently, and establish new digital formats. Remote support became a catalyst for innovation and helped us redefine what support can be.
Just to give us a better idea, how many cases are you experiencing these days?
Today, several years later, remote support is a core part of our service portfolio, and the numbers speaks for themselves. We updated these figures just before these presentations, and they clearly show how much our support has scaled. Without remote capabilities, this would not have been possible. So more than 56,000 support cases have been created worldwide this year alone. Our service lines have handled more than 70,000 incoming calls, and more than 270,000 mails have been processed by our global teams. Of course, personal contact remains important, especially for complex issues or critical situations, but we've learned that both are possible: closeness through technology and trust through expertise, whether on-site or digital. I firmly believe the future of support is hybrid, and we are ready to continue this journey together with our customers.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. And those numbers are impressive, ladies and gentlemen. You just saw those rising as we spoke. So since there are more and more numbers, or there's more and more support needed, you also just spoke of COVID as a game changer. How are you at Krones holding on, Raphael, to that momentum that was born with COVID and that really changed the way you support your customers in general?
Yeah. Sebastian has shown us how support evolved over the last years, and with quite impressive numbers, don't you think?
Yeah.
The question that's now is, how do we take the next step? How do we move into the future? And this is exactly where we are coming from. And today I'm excited to introduce to you our new support model. A model that is digital, secure, and foremost proactive. It consists of 3 pillars: Essential, Advanced, and Premium. Essential is the starting point, providing you guys with 24/7 support for all of our technologies. Advanced welcomes you to the Krones World production. You might have known and heard about it in the last sessions. In this Krones World, this gives you an overview of all your necessary information about your support cases and support hours in the customer portal. Advanced also includes the VPN lifecycle. That's for us to ensure the highest possible security in our remote connections. With Premium, we are setting new industry standards. By providing a constant connection to the line, we are able to provide you with the fastest reaction times and being able to support with a proactive support, where we can anticipate issues before they occur and solve them before you even know you have them. This also lays the foundation for our services and commitment in our Lifecycle Alliance. For example, the connectivity we are using at our Connect and Secure contract, where we are keeping your machines up to date in terms of software and security over the whole life cycle. We are moving beyond the reactive support to a proactive one, and we are redefining support, not as a service, but as a strategic partnership, where we are always on your side, at the customer side, together with the latest technologies, and also with a lot of heart and passion. If you want to know more about our new support concept, or want to learn more about Connect and Secure, please feel free to visit me at the Infinity Loop at the Hall B6.
Thank you, Raphael. And I said we're going to bring things full circle this afternoon, right? And a lot of things that we've heard now are coming together at the end of the day. And Matthias, we just heard and we've seen the high levels of service, the high levels of support that you can offer. If we just go a bit further into detail, how do you make good on that promise? How can you deliver?
Absolutely. As we drive forward digitalization and integrate IT and production infrastructure, one key finding is that transparency is an absolute fundamental necessity for us. That transparency we gain with continuous line observation and monitoring of our lines. what we see there is virtually anything our machines can produce in data, our network infrastructure can produce in data. And that enables us and the customer support teams that operate 24/7 to pick up early on any indicators. For example, we provide downtime monitoring for our customers, meaning we look at all the data that we get and see precursors, an early indication for when something goes really south and needs intervention from customer support. And then we pick up and proactively reach out to the customer, or even go and find out what's wrong, to deploy a fix, and then later on talk to the customer and pick him up.
Downtime is one thing, Matthias. I think that's clear. How do you, for other things, how do you guarantee, let's say, on an everyday basis, the ideal performance? Or how can you facilitate?
Yes. Performance monitoring. So, as I said earlier, we're monitoring virtually any KPI that comes out of the lines, out of the machines, out of the IT infrastructure. That means we can easily see if a production line is performing up to specification, up to operational targets. And that means for us, if that's not the case, our customer support teams can see that, intervene, tweak something, work with the customer to get their lines back on track. Imagine the following situation. If a customer, after a weekend break, ramps up production Sunday morning in the wee hours of the day, and the performance of the line is not really great, something is off, our teams already have picked up on what is going wrong, and are on the way to fix it before the customer even reaches for the phone and is able to call the service line.
So not only, thank you.
So what that gives us is really a proactive approach to our customers' needs. We pick up on that and deliver the service that we need on, well, the road, and with the goal to become a real partner in our customer success.
Thank you. I was actually going to say almost the same thing. Connectivity is key, we've already heard, but collaboration, of course, is key. Communication within the collaboration. And I'm sure earlier you heard someone saying transparency is key. One of you two said that, actually. And Peter, you were nodding vigorously. Transparency is key. Why? Why is that so important?
Well, that's true, but sorry guys, I'm still struggling with the thing over there. I prefer to log into Kronos World because then I have all the information and data in real time. But in fact, it's true. We are currently focusing on transparency of our activities and improved collaboration with our customers. Transparency today means that the customer can get a real-time overview on the support activities and our documented activities. And this includes also dashboards, view on his contracts, but also the documentation of the proper support. Collaboration today means that the customer can communicate with us via the Kronos World platform, so he can give us additional information, upload files, and make it easier for everybody for a fast and efficient problem-solving process. But that's in fact just the beginning.
That is just the beginning, and now that you are talking about Kronos World, we today are strongly, within these past few minutes, we have been focusing on customer support, but there's a whole world that lies beyond that, right?
That's in fact true, yeah. We are currently working on further improvement than that not just only includes a new UI or better accessibility, but also visualization of the planned services for the customers. Then that includes the plant technicians, supporting documents, but also the service reports afterwards. Another topic is self-service with AI, but, and that's very important, in a capsuled environment, focusing on the eye base of the customer for better accuracy and more efficiency. And third, and I mentioned that already before, collaboration. And collaboration will not stop between the customer and us, but we will include OEMs and also contractors. And this especially also focusing on new line business, because then we can do task management, project milestone management together, and also report on the progress.
Are there even more areas beyond that? We do have a couple.
Yeah,
actually half
well,
a
in
minute.
fact, there are just 8 bullet points listed on that, and 4 of them are related more or less technologically to the platform itself. Availability. Availability, big buzzword, yeah? Availability, just to give you a figure. If you say you have availability of 99%, sounds very good, but still means you have around 90 hours of downtime a year, and that's not acceptable. We achieved in average the last 3 years a platform availability of 99.95%, and this includes already the downtime we had for releases and maintenance of the platform. Security. I'd say security is not a point to discuss. Latest technological level, full stop. Same applies for scalability. No matter if you have 250,000 sets of data or 5 million, the performance has to be always the same. Global collaboration, and I'm probably collaboration again and again, but it's very important. If you think about an Ingenic line, if we do not collaborate, if we do not exchange information fast, it's not possible to run a project like this. Additional communication channels is another topic, and that's today you can get in touch with us using that antique thing. You can send us an email, you can open a case in the platform. We support you with the global remote service. Video also changes there for better availability and accessibility. We are deploying a new video solution end of this year, and we are also currently assessing the need for a chat, but again then with AI combined. The deeper integration into the project lifecycle management is also a key factor for us, because it enables the customer and us also to react faster, because we are getting closer and faster to the information we need. Same applies for the community expansion I mentioned. We are now picking up OEMs and then contractors afterwards to make it really round. And last but really not least, AI integration. Very, very brief example also on that. We last year supported customers and service customers in more than 150 countries in the world. AI translation and summary for us might be a real big enabler also to work on with follow the sun things in support and so on, but again, that's really just the beginning. In the end, it's not the part of the company, but it's the very core of more than 6,000 people working in customer service. It's the customers, it's so you that are driving us, sometimes pushing us forward, but you also inspire us to become better every day. And we truly live our customer service. So no matter if you're sticking to the phone or you're going fully digital, it is and remains in our DNA to support the best customer service in the industry.
Those are perfect closing words. Definitely deserve a round of applause. Thank you, Peter. And availability of 99.95%. That is very impressive. So we don't have any time left, unfortunately. Thank you so much, gentlemen. If you now have any follow-up questions, anyone who would like to view our exhibition piece near up, feel free to join us maybe here or next to stage. Our experts will be here. Also, it's getting kind of late, so it's probably almost beer time. I'm sure a couple of you are going to be at our beer garden. We'd like to invite our customers to join us there as well. We can also answer questions with a beer in our hands. Yes, they're that talented. So thank you so much for sticking around for our last slot, and let's hear a huge round of applause for our experts. Thank you, everyone.